So let us start with today's session. So just a Q&A session,
Okay.
and we will be taking all of. So yeah, we can proceed. So it would be better if you go unmute, and if you have any questions, then
So Ankit, I had one question
mhm.
that we spoke about the aspects of various planets. So
Mhm.
I think it's called drishti in
Yeah,
the local terms,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So matlab, what kind of drishtis are there? Is the drishti good or bad as well? And what effect does it have if in case of like the planet is exalted and debilitated, does it affect on the drishti of the planet as well?
Okay, okay. Yeah. So let me take that. So let's say let me take a example here as well. So I'm taking today's date only, so the current planetary alignment that we have, and let us discuss from here itself. So current
Okay.
ascendant is mean Rashi or mean ascendant, Pisces ascendant. It is currently rising. So
Ankit, have you shared your screen because I cannot see it?
okay, okay, sorry, the screen wasn't shared. So yeah, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah,
So
now I can see it.
yeah, uh, so uh, like you can see here, so as I said, Jupiter is always having a good aspect. So Jupiter, the natural property of a planet is, so on basis of that you have to judge the aspect. For example, Jupiter will be having fifth, seventh, and ninth aspect. So from this place, Jupiter will actually control all your expenditures. So it will actually make you wise towards making your expenses. At the same time, will have a good verbal communication with others. Your speech will be better, and also it also makes sure that you have good amount of luxuries in life. So Jupiter from here is actually good, but when you consider Saturn, so Saturn has a different consideration altogether. So Saturn is mainly, as I said, is a karma karak. So it will actually, so wherever it is sitting, it will actually make you put your effort in that house, and giving aspect to the other houses. Like if it is there in the house of luck or house of fortune, and then it will actually look at the 11th house, taking influence or taking the impact from the 11th house. It will strengthen itself. So, and also a factor being of having a good luck is also that you have to need to put a lot of effort, uh, need to have a good I would say a professional circle. So that comes from sixth house. So in this way, so I won't say that there is something bad regarding the aspect, but it changed according to the situation. So now, example, let's say if Saturn and
Okay.
Rahu were conjunct together, so you know that that wouldn't have been a good conjunction, and that would have its own implication. Then Saturn would have behaved in a different way. So that is.
Okay. So I was reading about that conjunction as well, and I could read two entirely different opinions on that. Some people said that Saturn and Rahu together acts like double, like two Saturns, and some said that Saturn and Rahu together it actually makes the impact of Saturn a little lesser. So why is there like such a difference of opinion about it?
Okay, so generally what I've seen is that uh, what happens is whenever Rahu is associated with other planet, it actually puts a dent mark to the significance of that planet. For example, if Rahu is associated with Saturn, it will actually make you very sharp-minded. But that sharp-mindedness or the direction will be more towards things that are not expected well in the society. For example, I've seen a case where a person was having Rahu and Saturn conjunction. Let me check if I have that. I think it was so.
So actually, I have that in my horoscope. You can actually check mine as well.
Okay, okay. So that was a case which I remember very well. So I don't remember the exact. So yeah, let take this, and after that I'll take yours as well.
Sure, sure, sure.
So this way. Yeah, exactly. So it's good that I remember the exact date. I was just guessing, but yeah, I remember the planetary alignments, but I was not sure about the date. But yeah, it worked out exactly fine. So look at here. So Saturn and Rahu are together here in the south, and they are very closely conjunct. So for one thing, let me analyze the entire chart and explain you how it works. So first of all, Jupiter is in the ascendant. So from far away, it would look like the person has a good personality, and you will be actually attracted to the personality of the person. So the chart that I am talking about is of a male. So first thing is good, but the worst part of the personality comes that Saturn and Rahu are associated in are conjunct in eighth house. So when it happens, eighth house is actually one of the malefic houses that is considered. And if Saturn and Rahu are conjunct there, it actually makes a person more prone towards drinking, alcohol, intoxication. That was the issue. And moon is your mind. So a person who doesn't have a control over his mind actually becomes more prone to that. And you see, moon is actually in the 12th house. 12th house is all about your expenditure and all about giving away. So actually the person doesn't have a good control over his mind. So few more things have contributed to his addiction towards drug and alcohol. So first of all, his mind wasn't under his control. He was losing about control over his mind, and at the same time, there was a tendency there within him to get more associated with intoxication. So that has led to this person. He was actually in, you say, a house where people are kept for those who are intoxicated, and just to have a
Okay.
behavior
Reform
in
house basically.
reform house. Correct, reform houses. So he was there for some time, and then he came back to his family. So as you can see, it is for 1968, and actually, when a person that old goes to a reform house, then it actually impacts the family a lot. So this was the thing that I
Right.
saw in this chart, and this was quite a matter of concern for his entire family. So his family asked me whether he would
Okay.
be able to get away with this addiction or not. So I said that no, it will be there because his mind will still be, because his moon is in 12th house, so he wouldn't have that much control over his mind. That will always be there, and at the same time, this tendency would always be there. So what would happen is he would actually get into a better dasha, which would actually save him, or actually restrict him a bit, or actually keep his circle a bit better. But that inner tendency will always be there. So, for example, you can see his sun dasha started in 2013, and it will continue till 19. So I said that this dasha is quite good for him, and this dasha will actually help him to progress and
So,
good for his well-being as well.
how did you conclude that the Sun Dasha will be good for him?
So first of all, this is ascendant, and ascendant lord is sun, and sun is placed in uh,
Okay, okay, okay.
Aries, and it is exalted. And also, when you
Hmm.
look at the
Okay.
nakshatra of sun, so sun is placed in nakshatra of Bharni, that is Venus. So Venus is the lord of nakshatra, and placement of Venus is also quite well. So sun is actually, as I discussed earlier, it is actually your significator of immunity, and sun is well placed here.
Yep.
So that is what made me think that the sun dasha will be at least better for him. But there are also a lot of things that his natural tendency would still be there. So I said that dasha is changing, or a changing factor in his life, but at the same time, that inner tendency will always be there. So first few years of Sun Dasha was better for him. People can see him changing. There was a bit of reform in his personality, but again he was, shifting gears between his natural tendency and shifting towards the getting more social. So that tendency was there. So this was one of the case. So let me take yours and let me discuss on that. So your title was
9th June
9th June
1990,
time
7:10,
7
7:10 a.m.
a.m. Okay. Place.
Delhi. So mine is, I think, pretty much similar to this one actually.
Okay, same thing. Okay. So okay. So one thing here, that Saturn is actually placed in its own house. So in a way it is good, but at the same time disturbed by Rahu.
Okay,
So that is actually the main. And Saturn, as you can see, is actually has just entered the Rashi. Moon is also
okay,
has just entered the Rashi. So, and also, so one good thing is that there is a aspect relation between Moon and Jupiter, which actually gives a person a stable mind, somewhat stable, I would say. If Moon is actually conjunct with or placed with one more planet, it would have been a better. But yeah, even this scenario is good. So, so did you had some issues like him, like he had?
no, never.
Okay. The good thing about this is there because chart is more or less same. The only good thing or the saving factor is there is that the moon is in a better position. So mind
Right,
is under better control and it is expected by Jupiter. Whereas in the previous case, if you look at, I think moon was not getting aspect of any other planet. It was near to, so Jupiter was there and moon was there.
it was in
It,
the
hmm,
12th house.
yeah,
Right,
but moon is in a better position here, so that is actually a better thing. One good thing also in this chart is Mars is very well placed. Mars in 10th house is very good. It makes the person very energetic and also committed, and also it actually makes the person keep working or keep committed towards something or the other. So these people can take some extra initiative,
okay,
work, and you know so uh, this is actually one of the better traits among the people who have among the normal population and people who have Mars in this 10th house.
okay.
And let's see the dasha that you're dasha that I was talking about yesterday. So let us discuss on that. So what was the dasha that you were having at the time? So you were going through Venus Mahadasha, and you said that you did that in 2008, your entrance exam, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So during that, so Venus Rahu has just ended and Venus Jupiter has started in 2007. So you are sure about that this time of birth is exactly absolutely correct.
That's what I've been told always.
Okay.
So I
So
guess must be fine.
okay, okay then. So yeah, so I was expecting because for most of the cases I've seen Rahu Antardasha was there or Venus Antardasha was there. But anyway, you were always you were
Okay,
going through this Venus Mahadasha. So anyway, that part was already there.
okay, okay,
And also for few of the cases I've seen that uh, exactly during the time of admission they don't have that Rahu or Venus Dasha. It might have ended in March. So we have all entrance examination in April or May. and it for sometimes for some of the people it ends in uh, May or sorry March or January itself. So that could have been the case.
Right.
So it has ended before.
Okay.
So first of all, you have gone through this dasha, and seems like this entire 20 years would have been quite good for you, even when it comes to studies or even being, standing out as a student and being part of other activities. You might have done very well this entire 20 years.
Sort of.
So this is also a way to actually read the chart. So this is actually part of Krishnamurti Paddhati. I will talk about it later and how actually this is done. So this
Okay.
is also there, but at the same time, Venus position is good, placed in 11th house. Uh, Everything is fine. Uh, and also, Lord of 5th house being placed in the 11th house actually gives a good amount of intelligence. And see in your chart as well, as I can see, the Saturn is placed in 8th house, and 8th Lord, being the 8th Lord, is respecting the 5th house. So there is a connection between 8th house and 5th house, like I
Yeah,
said
you said
earlier.
that yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. So again, the same trend which I've seen in the earlier chart is followed here as well. And also one more thing, people who have sun placed in second house, ascendant, and 12th house, in these three houses, these people are more prone to weak eyes, or chances are quite high that if sun is placed in these three houses, you might have specs. So,
Yeah, I have a pretty high power spectacles, so
yeah. So this is actually I've seen in most of the cases. Even not one of the case I've seen that if sun is placed in these three houses and that person is exempted from specs. So, and these days
okay.
specs are quite common among people. So even when you look at others' horoscope, just see that if sun is placed in these three houses, the chances are quite high that that person would be having a specs.
Okay.
The main reason being sun is placed in the 12th house, and 12th house is, as I said, is of your giving away or losing something,
Expenditure.
expenditure, and sun being the illuminates the entire universe or entire solar system, and it is also significator of your eyes. So if sun is weak in your chart, then that actually corresponds to your eyes or health of your eyes.
Okay, makes sense.
Even for some people, if their sun is placed in this eighth house, for them also I've seen that they are prone to specs.
Okay.
So overall, this is a good chart. I'd say a very good and a well balanced chart. Actually, things are in very good place and good shape.
So,
Hmm.
you've like told us about Rahu, but is Ketu like not very important in the chart? Does it not have much of an impact?
The major reason being that Rahu is always held more responsible or more critical among Rahu and Ketu. The reason I think is that Rahu and Ketu doesn't play much of the role in this transit. In transit, yeah, it plays a bit of role, but mainly in dasha system, the weightage for Rahu is much higher compared to Ketu. So when you consider the entire Vimshottari dasha,
Okay.
Vimshottari dasha of Rahu is of 18 years, and for Ketu it's 7 years only. So the amount of proportions
Okay.
played by Rahu is much higher than Ketu. So actually, Rahu will be having a
Okay.
much more impact on your life when it comes to Vimshottari dasha. Few astrologers believe that Vimshottari Dasha is not so significant, it doesn't work. But though for mine, if you take my opinion, I've worked mainly with Vimshotri Dasha, and I firmly believe that Vimshotri Dasha is always correct. Though at some stage it might not answer certain events of your life which has happened, which should have been answered by Vimshotri Dasha, but it is not able to answer. For that reason, I won't say that it is unaccountable. For that, you need to check some more things as well. But regarding Vimshotri Dasha, I find it always working and always accountable for all the or most of the events that occur in your life.
So will you be like delving deeper into this Vimshotri Dasha in the future classes, or
Yeah,
we have to like look at that?
yeah. So Vimshotri Dasha, when I will be taking some more case studies, so I will be explaining that how it actually works and why is it so that Vimshotri Dasha and how to actually make the prediction using Vimshotri Dasha. So let me take one more example. So you remember
Okay,
in the last class I explained a chart of one of my relative who got a very good rank in IIT. So let me take that example.
right.
So this was the chart, and let us look at the dasha that he was going through uh, when he cracked IIT. So remember he did it in 2007. So 2007 he was going to Rahu Venus. So see the same thing repeated here as well. So Rahu Mahadasha and Venus Antardasha. So for that time he was, I think for 2 years he was preparing for ITJ in Kota. He stayed there for 2 years and prepared. And in 2007 he got into IIT Kharagpur. And this thing I found in many of the charts. And similar, and also one thing when you notice, Venus is actually good here, but after that, not many planets are doing well. So Rahu Moon Dasha is not considered to be very good. So Rahu is so Moon is actually your mind, and Rahu makes it a bit more effective. So Rahu Moon for many of the people or case studies that I've taken so far, I've always found that Rahu Moon is always disturbing in some sense or the other for their life. And he also told me the same thing. For first year, till his son was there, he was doing quite well in ITs. But after that, he actually uh, was more prone to other activities in in IT actually. He was less focused about
Okay.
studies, and actually that happens. So the syllabus that it is taught in IIT, and in all other engineering college. So the same patterns repeat there as well. So syllabus is not that elaborate or which needs actually an entire semester to study. You only need to study few weeks before the exam just to have a good marks. And rest of the time you have to utilize your time. So where you will be spending it. So that was the void in his career, or I would say in his life, that he did not actually dedicate those part or the void time in something good or something productive. So that is why it was a bit of distressing for him, but not completely because his entire chart was quite good and well balanced. So it did not impact him so severely. But yeah, there was an impact. And after that, 2011 he passed, and since 2011 he has his Jupiter Dasha started, and he has moved to Bangalore since then. Since 2011, he's been staying there, and he's still there in Bangalore. So I was also expecting that he won't return to Bangalore very soon, or from Bangalore very soon. He will stay there only, and then he might shift to some other place.
So what was the basis of this prediction that he won't be returning?
So for many of the cases that I've seen, that people, those who shift to Bangalore, So there is a concept about natural significance of planet and also where you shift. So planets like Venus, Mercury, Jupiter. So these are mainly good benefic planets, and if their dasha is on process, and if you move to a city which is well developed and which is actually provides you more comfort. So these are actually significator of Jupiter, Venus, or Mercury. And suppose if you're working in a big firm or a big company, big organization, so something big is actually associated with Jupiter or Venus. So that is how why I
Okay.
predicted that if you're staying in a city like Bangalore, quite likely that you will stay there for much more time because it seems quite less likely. Uh, Even recently, I was going through Jupiter Antardasha, and for that period, I was there in Bangalore. But when my Jupiter Dasha ended and Saturn Dasha started, I moved back to Kolkata. So even that change I've seen because staying in a big company and also staying in a city like Bangalore or maybe Delhi, Gurgaon, it actually needs a good planetary dasha to be there, or a planet like
Okay.
Jupiter, Venus, because it creates such ambience. So that was the point.
So in this chart of the Vimshotri Dasha, like the Mahadasha is of Jupiter,
Hmm.
and how do you figure out which Antar Dasha is going on?
So just look at the dates. So from 2015 to 2018, Jupiter, Mercury Antardasha will be going on.
And what is that Saturn, the second row?
Saturn, Saturn is also the Antardasha. So you remember the sequence. So first Antardasha will be same of the Mahadasha, and then the sequence will follow.
Right,
And
right,
then
right.
Saturn, and then Mercury. So Saturn has ended
Okay,
in 2015, and since then his Mercury
okay,
Dasha is going on.
okay.
And so let me take another example of that person whom I told that he was IC topper. So if you look at his Dasha, so again he got into his college in Sun Venus Dasha. So in 2010, he has appeared for his entrance examination. So the time won't be exactly correct. So if I change the time a bit, this Vimshotri Dasha will also shift a bit. So this could be possible that this month would have shifted to May or June, which and can be done by shifting this dates a bit. So let me show you that. 10 minutes. Yeah. So if I take 1253, so it is actually in uh, starting from June until June 11. So the same pattern I've observed here as well. So in Sun Dasha, Jupiter Antardasha was in progress, and then he got in admission into his college. And similar trends I have seen in many more charts as well. I think many more. So one case, if I remember, let me show you one case. I think I have. This would be mine. Yeah, this was it. And moon is in Rohini. So, in this also I remember this person was also part of our same batch, and if I look at his chart, uh, yeah, he was going through Jupiter Dasha, and Jupiter Venus started around when he joined. So Jupiter, so the same pattern again. Either Rahu has to be there in either in Mahadasha or Antardasha. Similar pattern, similar things I have observed across many of the charts that I've seen. Either it has to be there somewhere or the other. So this was about. So so Jugal, if you have any questions, uh, or if you want to volunteer as you want to discuss something.
Actually, I don't have any questions right now because I'm completely new. But I was listening and I love to check the previous videos. Maybe then I'll have some questions.
Okay, I can mention this. So yes, yes. Any more questions?
So Ankit, can I ask one more thing?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
please.
so sometimes I've seen in some charts that the central there are no planets in the central houses in
Mm-hmm.
any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you generally start the analysis of the chart? Like, mostly you see
Mm-hmm.
the planets in the ascendant, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
said that first thing you should look at is the moon.
Mm-hmm. Correct, correct.
And how do you move forward after that?
Okay, okay. So let me answer. So these are the center houses, or these are the called Kendra house. In Hindi, mainly the word is Kendra house. So these are Kendra and these are Trikon house. What happens is Kendra house are actually the pillar of your personality. So it actually supports your personality, your traits, and actually the good things that you have. So this is first house is about you, your body, your personality. Uh, First, then second Kendra house is your fourth house, your mother, your actually luxuries that you're having, your mental stability. This all these things are taken from fourth house. Your partnership, your behavior with other someone else, or if you are interacting with the other person, how do you or interaction would be, or how the other person will find you comfortable. So these things are from seventh house, and this is your social status, the most important among all the houses. uh, is so it is good that if all the four houses are occupied, so it is generally termed as a very good yoga if all the four houses are occupied. It actually shows that all the four aspects of your life are actually have a significant contribution, or there is no void in one of the aspects. So first thing, that if all the four houses are empty, then uh, you can actually understand that something is lacking in his personality, or the main pillar that should be there in a personality that is lacking. But that doesn't mean that the person is weak himself. But yeah, in his core personality he's lacking some uh, common traits that should be there in or if you take a common population, which is and if you compare with that, then he must be lacking some of the qualities. So first thing. Second thing, if I consider this chart, let's say moon is placed here in fourth house. So fourth house is for education and everything. So uh, moon in the fourth house will actually make person more dedicated towards his or her studies. And here moon is in a state of exaltation. So actually it is a very good state. And also when you see the position from sun, it is exactly opposite to the sun. So in that case mental capacity would be higher. The person will absorb more better uh, compared to rest of the population. Absorption capacity would be more, mental capacity would be higher. So another plus point. uh, Secondly, sun and uh, sun together, Mercury and sun together. and the difference in the degrees around 20 degrees. So conversion, or when what happens is when a planet is nearer to sun, it actually loses its importance. But when it is at 15 degrees or more, then it actually maintains its vitality, and at the same time also contributes towards the conjunction. So Mercury and Sun are at 20 degree separation, around 20 degrees. So this is actually a good thing. Her intelligence should also be sharper. Uh, Rahu in 10th house is also quite beautiful, very good for her career, and always keep her efforts towards person's effort towards actually um, mm, making yourself more productive. And also I would also want to mention that this person was also among the toppers. Actually, in the first semester, this person actually topped from the batch. So again, the same pattern for the toppers that should be there. So this was there. Only problem being Saturn and Venus, which is not quite good. So the spouse would be quite elder, and Mars is also aspecting it. So there could be some problem related to married life. Apart from that, the person is quite good, I would say. So this is also when you are analyzing the entire horoscope, you also need to specify your aspect or scrutinizing thing in the certain aspect, because there could be many other things that you can understand from the chart. So if you need to pinpoint something, look at the significator or the karak of that, and scrutinize them and go in depth, and then understand that what would be the implications or what would be the analysis. So there could be hundred of things that can be known from the chart, but you need to specify or understand that what are the things that I'm looking for.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So any more thing?
Not as of now.
So let me see if I have something. So let so, if you remember Chirag, he's there in our group, WhatsApp group. So I've taken his chart. So here also he has also done his engineering, and at the same time, when you look at his dasha, when he got admission into engineering, it was actually in 2010. So again, he was going to Rahu dasha, Saturn Mahadasha and Rahu Antardasha. Same thing repeated here as well. So this is what I call the beauty of astrology. And no person is exempted, and if you find any exception, that is quite rare, actually, to spot. Again, the same thing. So a few more things that I will be adding to this. For example, there are planets which are mainly responsible for separation, or actually uh, ending of job. So if a planet is Rahu, Saturn, or Ketu, if these are planets that are going through uh, any current phase in your life, then chances are quite high that you'll be leaving your current job. So let me take one of the example
Okay.
and to explain that how it actually works. If I remember it correctly, let me show you. this was it. So here what happened is that, so when I joined my first company, this girl was also there. She was working with me, and actually her performance in the first view. So when you join a company, you actually go through a probation period, a training period, where you have to perform well to actually sustain in that company. And if your performance is not good, then it's quite likely that you will be terminated. So this case, this chart was actually case of termination. So what happened is, she was not performing well, and actually she actually then consulted me that what would happen. Will I get terminated, or will I sustain in this company? So I had a look at this horoscope and tried to see what dasha she was going through. So it was in 2015 that it happened, and see the dasha that she was going through. Rahu Shani, Rahu Saturn. So I exactly understand that she is going to terminate. So actually, what happens is you are given 3 attempts to actually qualify the exam or the assessment test. So after second attempt, she actually consulted me whether she will be getting through or will be getting terminated. So just looking at the dasha that she was going through, I actually was quite confirmed that she couldn't make it. She won't be able to make it, and this is what happened. In third attempt, she failed by some 7-8 marks, and after a few days, she was terminated. So this trend also I found in most of the chart. So either when you leave an organization, or if you move, or you get terminated, for both of the cases, Rahu, Shani, or Ketu, Rahu, Saturn, Ketu, either of these three has to be there in your dasha system. Either of these three. So let me take one more example and explain. So this happened recently only. So for this person also, actually, when this Kundli came to me, I didn't know that he actually has left this company and he has joined something new. So when I saw his chart, have seen that he is going to Rahu Ketu Dasha, Rahu Mahadasha and Ketu Antardasha. I asked this person that whether he must have left his company, or he must be looking for some other opportunity at the moment. So he said that yeah, he has currently left his organization. He has joined some new organization. So that turned out to be true. So this is actually the significance, natural significance of the separative planet. So Rahu, Shani, and Ketu. So whenever a person is going through, specifically Antardasha, so if these planets are mainly there in Antardasha, chances are quite high, quite likely that the person would leave his current organization, leave his current workspace, and will shift to somewhere else. So these are some of the things that it's so vast that I cannot complete or cover each of the thing. But yeah, I can have a from the surface level I can explain and make you understand that how it actually works. And also when you also go through some more number of charts and more number of kundis, you will understand that how the system actually works, how everything is related, and there is no exemption to the rules. Everything is happening according to the rule itself and how structured it is. So any more questions, anything more that you want to know?
So Ankit, have you bought the license for this software, Horosoft?
uh,
And are there any others that you recommend, or is this the best one?
I think for this, yeah, I've got the license, but there are many other, like for example, Parashar Light is there. Parashar Light is one of the better horoscopes, horoscope making software, or either you can do it
Okay.
from online as well. AstroSage, the site that I have given, that I've provided already. So you
Okay.
can do check from that as well. So even that is good. There are many free online sites where you can generate your chart and uh, check your chart. So this is something that was there with me. So I've been using this. And before this, also I used to make it online only. So online I used to enter the details and get it done.
Okay.
Mhm. So anything else? So Jugal,
No,
anything that you
nothing
want to
from
ask?
my side for now.
No, sir. I think that's not.
Okay. Okay then. Then no issues. Then we will wrap up today itself. Wrap up for now. Then thanks for
Sure.
joining the session.
Thanks, Ankit.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.